Welcome to Intelligent Human Leadership, leading yourself and your team. Do you ever find yourself grappling with a lack of confidence in your team? Or battling the relentless waves of concern and fear? Are the pressures to meet client expectations and the burden of missed opportunities weighing you down? On this podcast, you'll discover the strategies and insights that will reignite your team's morale and help you find the harmony and knowledge you seek to propel your business forward. Here, we explore innovative ways to reignite your creative spirit and achieve greatness, empowering you to lead with intelligence, compassion, and resilience. If you're ready to dive deep into your core of leadership challenges and be guided toward success, here's your host, founder of Steward Your Business, David Carr.
Here we are back at the Intelligent Human Leadership Podcast. I'm grateful you're here with me once again this week. I am inspired to this week to bring you an idea, a thought based on the song The Distance by Cake. Now, some of you may not know, I've been a DJ for a long time. I did that for years. I enjoyed being a DJ, master of ceremonies. Music is big in my background. Actually, I have a music minor. And played multiple instruments. So music is a lot of fun. That's why you've maybe heard I did a great episode last year called Shallow that you might want to go back and listen to. I occasionally will bring a song to you to hopefully maybe put this concept to you in a different way. I really enjoy this very short song, The Distance, and I thought it would be a great topic to cover today. We're here in January. It's actually I'm recording this January 20th here. So we're moving right along through 2025. And oftentimes we have ideas of what it's going to look like at the starting gate, get going, hit the ground running, and we might not be getting where we want to be. So I want you to start thinking about, what does it mean to go the distance in life? Leading yourself well, as we talk about on this podcast, without burning out, without losing sight of your true purpose. Why are you getting up every day? Why are you doing the things that you're doing? And I'm going to give you some tools and some frameworks that I use that I've incorporated along my journey that work well. And I've worked with thousands of men. We have used these tools and these resources. And so I'm going to provide them to you today, an introduction to them to help you go the distance. And so we all have a starting line. You know, if you're watching car races, running a race, there's always a starting point that we have to be looking at. And I say, let's look at our facts. Let's look at the facts of our life. Some people say, well, what is my truth? I like to use it saying truth is not subjective. Facts, are very clear. We can say this is reality for me at this moment. Now your facts of your life can change. Truth is, in my understanding, is never changing. So let's get to the facts of your life. What are the foundational truths that you have in your life? We start with business here on Steward Your Business. I focus on that, but we also look at the cascading effects of other domains in our life, because it's not just business how we're showing up. It's our body. It is our mental, emotional, spiritual well-being, if you will. It's our relationships. I call it balance. So just take those 4 domains alone and say, where are you? What's the foundational truth? What's the facts of my life right now and where I'm starting? Because if you're not clear on that, it's really hard to know, where your starting point is. What is your baseline foundation? Because then we can start to get at, what are we aiming for, right? What's our vision? Where do we want to go on this journey? But if we don't have a firm foundation of understanding, it's going to be a little muddier in how we're going to get there. And what are the commitments that we're actually willing to make that align with those goals and make sure that we're actually moving in that right direction. Commitments are a big deal. They're not taken lightly. I've talked about this in past episodes, the difference between commitment and something being interesting. Well, there's a lot of interest out there, but there's not a lot of commitment. And in order to go the distance, you have to have commitment to get you there, to get past the hard times, the challenging times. And on today's podcast, while I can't answer all your questions, I can't solve everything in a podcast, I can give you some tools and some systems that you can use to help stay on track. And of course, going deeper here with me and the coaching that I offer and the space that I offer, that you can be not alone, but know that you can go further together. If you've looked at any great movie about troops and war and challenges, it's we want to stay together as a unit. We can go much further than we can as an individual. And so I want you to reflect here as we're getting going on the podcast today. How clear are you about your current state, your current stage, if you will, about your life? Are you clear on living meaningfully in your true purpose? Or is it muddy for you? It might be clear in business, but you know what? I'm not sure about what's going on with my body and my physical health and my well-being there. Maybe that spills into your mental and emotional and spiritual well-being. It could be, your relationships are off. They're not where they want to be. Romantically, emotionally connected with maybe your children, your wife. Do you have good friendships and connections with your coworkers, collaborators? Meaning, do you enjoy being around them? Do you find inspiration, or is it drudgery? And so I want you to look at the facts of your life, because when you do this, we can start to realign and move forward. We're like, man, I've really neglected this area in my life. For me, part of that challenge has been learning how to balance this out. There was a time where I would work. I was just always working. And my marriage and relationship with my children started to suffer because of that, because I couldn't be fully present. And so I had to make some changes. One of those changes early on, when my daughter was first born, I had been working for the county of Riverside at the time, and was leaving very early because I had to drive. There was a lot of commute time involved. And I had to decide that, it was a good position. I really enjoyed the work. I had to make a decision that wasn't working for my overall family. And I had to choose to realign to move forward in my career and for my family. So when we look at the facts, it's really important to know the starting line, if you will, of where we're at. And I use some tools and questions, and we dig further into this in the coaching program that I do to help you get better understanding, clarity, really what's going on in those domains, my body, my being, my balance, my business. Where am I in those things? And to take real account and ownership of where you're at. Because what we want to do is help you build resilience to keep moving forward to what you truly want. What is that? How do we really go the distance? I've talked about this in previous episodes as well, but I'll just refresh you here. What are the tools or the systems that you use to make sure that you're able to have resilience, bounce back, have the strength, the fortitude to keep going? Here's the reality. A lot of people quit. A lot of people pull off and they don't make it. They don't go the distance because they haven't been, like I said, looking at the facts, maybe taking care of their body the right way each day. Are they actually taking the time to maybe go through meditation and learn, renew their minds, cultivating that inner clarity and mindfulness and knowing your purpose? What is your personal why? Can you answer that question? Because what we want to do is test and work through that. And that's what I am so passionate about, as you're hearing me here on the podcast, is that why I created Steward Your Business and why I want to come along and help you as you're listening to this podcast, whether you be the business owner, director, manager, leader, whatever your title is, whether it's in your company or at home, whether it's your dad, your father, your mom, how are you showing up when things are tough? How are we strengthening the relationships to create that foundation of support around us? How are we aligning our business investments, both time and money, into the meaningful progress that we're seeking to achieve? And I want you to take you back to the fact map here. How does our current reality show up in there? How are we showing up in these areas? Because by getting at this and being ruthless about it, quite honestly, there's assessments I can take you through to help you determine whether you're asleep, awake, or you're really active in these endeavors of really improving and transforming yourself. Reality is we could all kind of just be a bump on a log and just kind of sit along and not really live a truly fulfilled life. But I really feel we're called to become, not only just for ourselves, but to be a blessing to others. We're still reeling from challenges here in Southern California, from fires, from wind. Thankfully, I'm here. We've got power, but we've been challenged with even having power turned on today. Something simple we may take for granted because of the wind condition. And people have lost tremendous amount of physical items, emotional connections here. There's been lost lives, unfortunately, in our fires here in Southern California. How are we banding together? How are we showing up to be the healthiest person to come alongside those that are in need and that are really struggling right now? Starts, we got to take care of ourselves first and understand that. We can navigate this from the facts to going to freedom. And I truly want you to be free from the chaos that's going around in our lives. And, it's talks about this in the song about the chaos and driving and how we're going to get there, right? In the distance. But how do we stay at the course? What are we focusing on? What's our attention on? Is it on, I even have it right here. I have a phone. What's grabbing your attention, right? We got to put those distractions away if they're not contributing to our overall well-being, so that we can adapt to the challenges that are along the way. You can use this. I'll give you a freedom acronym. What's our focus? What's our resilience? R. E. What's our energy? What are the habits and practices you're doing to maintain energy, to stay committed? The commitment, it's easy to make when things are going good. We're first buying our house, we're getting married, right? Those are exciting and it's scary one time to a degree, but we're excited. We're at the beginning. But what happens when your relationship starts to chip away? What happens if your business and your team is having dysfunction, right? When there's toxicity coming in, when your house pipe breaks, or there's a fire that unfortunately damages it or is lost, right? How are we staying energized and committed? What's the consistent actions you're taking? Execution. What's the consistent actions you're taking that help you align with your goals? What are they? What are those habits that you're living by? Are they serving you? Are they getting you where you want to be? Discipline. How do you ensure your accountability and your vision? This is when I found that it's really hard to do alone. This is why I've created Steward Your Business, to help you not be alone. To have somebody that's partnering with you, it's going along with you to help get you to your ideal goal, your ideal target, and asking you the question, is that really what you want? To help you stay disciplined, to help you stay focused. You notice when people go into the Army or any branch of the service, you have drill sergeants, you have people in there of certain places to challenge them, to help them be disciplined in order to get to the achieved goal, objective. There's also opportunities. What are the possibilities that are emerging along your journey? And are those opportunities in alignment with what you really want, where you want to go? or there's lots of opportunities that come up. It may not be in your best interest. We got to choose wisely how this affects our other domains, not just in business, but our physical well-being, our balance, our relationships, our spiritual, emotional well-being. And finally, are we becoming a master at growing ourselves, leading ourselves through this process? You can use that FREEDOM acronym. What's our focus? How we're developing resilience, our energy, execution, discipline, opportunities, and mastery to guide us to be free so that we can help course correct when the race feels overwhelming. All of these things in alignment help you. Now, I'm going through a lot here on the podcast because I've only got a short time with you. And it's so important that, I want to value your time while you're here, but I want to drop this wisdom on you because I want your mind to start renewing. I want your mind to start thinking of what could be, and challenging lazy or stinking thinking, if you will, that isn't getting you where you want, because you wake up and you're like, what? I'm not focused. I'm not clear on really what I want right now. I haven't allowed myself to even consider that. How would I even build resilience if I'm not even clear on what I really want right now? Maybe I know what I want in business. I want to make a certain amount of money or have enough time off, but I haven't considered about what does that mean for my family or my relationships, or I haven't really thought about what's the cost to my body and what does that look like. And so I want you to help count the cost and be prepared to get to the finish line. Talked about the starting line. I want to get to the finish line here. And so for me, one of the things was, I'll just give you a quick example of I wasn't taking my wife on date night. It was like that was going away, and I was letting that slip away, and my relationship was slipping away. And so I had to realize, I have to course correct here. I want that. I want to have a deeper relationship with my wife. I want to be married from, years on and not just, be divorced and having gone through that before. So you have to make course corrections, but you have to understand where you're at. Here's the thing, too. In the song, it talks about no trophy, no flowers, no flashbulbs, no wine. This person that's going the distance is going because they know it's the right thing to do. They're not looking for all of the woohoo accolades. In the song, they've already left. They're gone, but this guy is going because he knows he's got to go the distance. And this is why this song inspires me in the sense of you're determined in having that motivation. Nobody else can motivate you. Unfortunately, I wish that was true, but it really isn't. You can be inspired, but motivation comes in from you. And the way we're best motivated is by envisioning what is our why. What do we want to become? How are we living our purpose? Are we living it? Because absent the rewards, these external rewards are like, I would get this, that, and the other thing. Just strip that away. Strip the accolades, the external accolades. It really has to come down to your heart of hearts, because those things will fade away anyways. And I want you to be clear on your own personal story of perseverance, rather than just looking at immediate recognition. And this is very true for marriage. Any of you guys have been married for a minute or two recognize that our wives or our children particularly are not looking to give us accolades. And if anything, they're going to give us, dig on us, whatnot. And if we're looking for that, we're going to be sorely mistaken and hurting. It has to come from ourselves of how we're going to live, especially children. If you have children, know that children are not always the warmest and appreciative of all the things you do as a parent. Our coworkers are not as warm and thankful. Our employees aren't as thank you for the job and thank you for all the benefits you give me and time off. And, it's none of that. But are you doing it for the right reason or the wrong reason? Are you looking for it to stroke your ego? Or you're looking for it because, I'm called to create a better life for the people I serve, for the people I get to provide employment for my family that I get to provide, not just provide from them, physical things, but emotionally, and developing a relationship and being there and being present for the people in your life, having an amazing influence over them. You get that opportunity. passionate about this, you guys, and I appreciate you listening here on the podcast. I want you to get to the finish line. And remember that this is a story of continuous growth and transformation. We get off target, we all drift. It's moving toward the line, right? It's running the race well, with resilience, clarity, and purpose. You can use the fact and the freedom maps that I've talked about to create a roadmap for you. And that's one of the things that I do is we go through together, we get clear on these things and the tools that I use through my coaching program. And I would love to talk with you more about it. If you want to learn more about it, let's get on a call and we'll discuss it. But I want you to be clear and take action on what you're hearing today. What areas of your life, your body, your business, balance, your relationships, your spiritual being needs attention to go the distance? You don't even know what that is right now. Do you even have a system or a way of reflecting and looking at this to transform your life and compress time? Honestly, that's one thing I really appreciate about what I've learned in these systems and these tools is that I can take them and I can use them to compress time and things that I thought were really impossible to be done in literally months, and you're on to the next thing. You can take intentional action today simply by talking to me, and I want to provide you these tools and resources. Sharing this podcast with others, of course, that's always great to know that they're not alone. And that's one thing the reason why I bring this podcast out is because it's so important for me to pass the word along that you hear my voice, that you know there's an advocate here, steward your business, acting on your behalf. You have the keys to freedom. I'm just helping you see them in a different way. You can get at the root and the facts of your life and become a person of thriving, a person that is resilient, a person that's clear on their purpose, their why, and to live with a fullness. No, we're not living within a deficit. We're not living in a place of want and just drudgery. We're coming from a place of light and energy and what it draws to us and how we're able to bless and influence others. I want you to have that resilience. I want you to live with that purpose and know your personal why in all areas of your life. If you hear this and you're like, David, I need to know more. I need to talk with more. Let's get on the call and talk about it. I love your comments, your feedback on the podcast. And I'm going to continue to come with you along this journey. It's my passion, it's my purpose, it's my why to know that I can help come alongside you and be an advocate for you. Appreciate you guys listening here on this week's episode of The Intelligent Human Leadership. Until next time, be well, take good care. Thanks, everyone.